Well, in 1963, I was the provincial champion at tennis, and Helen Roach, who is one of the original founding members of the club, invited me to just come and have a friendly game. After we'd finished, she said to me, "Why do you not join the Glencoe? You've got 2 young children." And I said, "We emigrated 6 years ago from Britain. We have bought a house, we bought 2 cars. We have no money to join the Glencoe Club." And just then Stu Aitken walked into the coffee shop and Helen said, "Stu, come over here." So he came over and he said, and Helen said, "You know we're trying to improve the tennis," because the tennis at the Glencoe in those days was the absolute pits of the world. And she said, "Betty's provincial champion and she'd love to join, but they can't afford. Can you give her a deal?" So he said, $60 a month for 1 year? How's that? And with that, I went home without even asking my husband and told him we've signed the forms for the Glencoe Club. So that was how we started here. And then we played then at the Calgary Tennis Club. And the next day we were playing with our best friends who happened to be equally as good tennis players as we were. And I said, "You'll never guess what we did yesterday." And she said, "What?" I said, "We joined the Glencoe Club." And she said, "We joined 2 days ago." So there was a group of us moved in the 1 year from the Calgary Club to here, and the Glencoe went from being a nothing club. It had the 4 top women in the province here in the club. Well, we now have 4 sons, and Robin, our second youngest, I think he has his name on the champions board more than anybody else in men. He's won the men's doubles here in the club for. He broke his Achilles tendon 2 years ago and he doesn't play any longer, but he won it for years and years and years. Robin Spiers playing with Mike Beam. So Jeff, our youngest son, didn't play here very much. He was provincial champion 4 times in singles. He was also about 10 years in a row. He and Robin played together and won the men's doubles. But he has played more on the international circuit. Even though he's nearly 50, I think he's still ranked about 30-something in open tennis in Canada. Our 2 eldest sons were badminton players and still are to this day. Michael, he's still a member here. He's going to the nationals in badminton next weekend, I think it is, in Vancouver, and he's ranked in Canada in 60. I can't believe I've got a child 60, but he's ranked in badminton in 60 and over. There was my husband and myself. We eventually had 4 sons, all joined. We gave them their membership for wedding gifts, and all their children did belong. Michael is living out in the country now, and so his 2 children have let their membership go, but Jeffrey's 2 children and Robin's 2 children still belong here. It was our home from home. We curled in the curling league, we bowled in the bowling league, we did the tennis league, the badminton. We never spent any money on entertainment outside of the club because we were here and our children were here almost every day of the week. Well, 1 year, and it happened in this ballroom, I was the president of the Sports Women's Association, and Princess Alexandra came from Britain to do something with the Princess Alexandra battalion in the army. And while she was here, groups were allowed to request her to do certain things with theirs. It so happened it was the Sportswomen's Award dinner. We got her to come. She came here, she presented the awards, and I was so proud because I'm from England originally and I adore the royal family. and she presented me with my award for Outstanding Athlete of the Year. And that was in 1966 or 67. Still friends with Mary Allison. She and I, for like 20 years, not every year, but almost every year, we would play each other in the finals of the provincial. Sometimes she would win. I think she won 4 and I won 5. We still hold the record for the most ladies doubles. We won 13 years in ladies doubles in the provincial. Ev Wiggum, whom I think you've already interviewed, she's been one of our best friends since 1957. Same with the Allisons. While we don't play tennis, we still keep in touch. We go out for lunch, and though Allisons live in Toronto now, though I do go and stay with them, we used to go to the Canadian Open every year in Toronto. And we just stopped about 2 years ago. I got too old to travel on my own. So yes, we do. We keep in touch with them. And most of our tennis friends are our personal friends outside of the club. We all did so much together in our younger days, and we've remained friends to this day. I remember Pearl, who was a Tartar, scared the life out of the kids. I remember Pat in the coffee shop, who she was there for about 30 years and was great. And then when I was talking with my daughter-in-law, I said, Ian Payton. And to this day, Ian Payton is retired. He's in his late 70s. He came to this club in 1974, and we had a nothing. We had good women, because all top 4 ladies had moved over to this club in the 60s. But Ian Payton arrived from Australia. He was squash pro and tennis pro. And he was outstanding. On top of that, he was a gentleman. I would say while Ian was the pro here, we had at least 12 kids ranked in the various age groups in Canada, in Canadian tennis, including my own 2 sons. So nothing in my mind will ever beat Ian Payton and what he did for tennis in the Glencoe Club. We were playing badminton up at Crescent Heights High School. We weren't members of the Glencoe, and we belonged to the Calgary Rackets Club then, and they played their badminton up at Crescent Heights High School. Someone came rushing in and said, "The Glencoe's on fire." So we all stopped, we came down and we stood and got as close to the fire as we could. The police were around and not letting people get too close. And we watched the Glencoe burn down. But as soon as it was rebuilt, that was when I came to play with Helen. That was late 1963. And that's when we joined the club in 63, after the fire. We spent most of our time on the tennis courts and the badminton courts. It seemed that I'd come to the club almost every day, and I'd play badminton in the morning. We'd stay and have lunch, and I would play badminton in the tennis in the afternoon. So those were the 2 places. I did bowl about 3 times a week, but the tennis and badminton courts were the main thing. And sitting at 6:30 in the swimming pool while our children swam. So we, as you know, I was here at 6:30, didn't go home till about 4. It was a long day at the Glencoe. A guy called Mike Jamieson was a very good tennis player, and he moved to Toronto. He came back on for a weekend, and all the men got together, and they all had rather too much to drink. And about 10 at night, I get a call from Mrs. Breen, Pat Breen. Do you know where Peter and Bill and nobody can find them? And somebody said that they'd had a lot to drink in the club bar and then just disappeared. So we got our eldest son to come down here, and everybody's searching for 3 men. 2 of them were found fast asleep on the massage table in the massage room, and the other was found fast asleep on the floor somewhere behind one of the Chesterfields. But here were 3 wives and 3 families searching for their husbands and fathers. And we still talk about that today, how they had too much to drink, and about midnight they were found in the club on the massage tables and behind the Chesterfield. For the first 50 years we lived here, it was our life. I mean, we didn't have outside entertainment, it was all here. Our children use it the same way we did, though maybe not quite as much. They're mainly just into tennis. It was our life. And now that we're getting older, our living room in Chesterfield are our life instead of the Glencoe Club. Enjoy your time here. It is the greatest facility in Calgary, and you should make use of it. I still feel that way. It's the greatest facility in Calgary. While I don't quite have the same feelings, I'm a different person. I can't do as much as I used to. We used to come almost every Sunday here in our younger days to the Sunday dinner at night in the dining room here. We brought our children to every Christmas party where they got things from Santa Claus. We brought our children to the Easter, and I will say this, we tried to get in for the Easter brunch and it's booked solid. And I think my youngest granddaughter is quite happy, because I had told her the Easter bunny was coming, and she just looked and says, "Grandma." It still is, in my mind, the best facility there is. Both the food here has got to be some of the best in town. Every day of the week they used to have a luncheon buffet. It was outstanding, and we used to come about 2 or 3 times a week for the luncheon buffet. They don't have it now, but no, all the meals are good. I love the shrimp sandwich. I love the chicken cashew stir fry. There's a lot of food here. I love the Saturday night one. It has lamb in the coffee shop, and I happen to love lamb. So, no, it's second to none. In fact, I'll go further. It's second to none in Canada. I look back on when we joined. I can take mainly the tennis, and the badminton. Every night of the week from 4 till 5, they had a children's ladder. They don't have that anymore. And the camaraderie that evolved between the kids, because they were playing against each other in this ladder, they'd come off, "Did you beat her? Did she win?" And that has gone now. There isn't a ladder in the tennis. I don't know about the badminton, but they used to have a badminton ladder, and our kids would not miss that. They would come down every single day to play in the ladder. Oh, yes. And that's going back to 1975, the indoor tennis courts. They were the best thing that ever happened to the Glencoe Club. I love the outdoor swimming pool and what they've done to it now. I love the fact that we can come down with our grandchildren and get one of the booth things outside with Chesterfields in them, and that was a great expense, I thought, you know, a great value. I'm not the only one in my family who feels this is a fantastic club. Jeff and Robin have traveled all over the world playing tennis, and they still say there is nothing like the Glencoe Club.